What is NATO and why does it matter? Ever since Russia invaded Ukraine back in February, you've probably heard a lot about NATO, but you might not be sure exactly what it is. So NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and it's basically a defensive military alliance. It was originally formed in 1949, and its founding members included the USA, Canada, the UK, and France. It currently has 30 members, and if Sweden and Finland join, which they would like to do, then there will be 32 members. In order to be allowed to join NATO, you have to tick a lot of boxes. Among them includes being a democracy, treating minorities fairly, and committing to resolve conflicts peacefully. Possibly the most important thing about NATO is something called Article 5, and that is basically an agreement among all member states that if one of them comes under attack, all of them will come to their defence. And it's because of this article that, in spite of all their support, NATO actually isn't sending Ukraine soldiers or troops on the ground. Don't forget that Ukraine isn't a member of NATO, so NATO isn't obliged to come to Ukraine's defence, and NATO's clearly worried that if they get involved and directly come into conflict with Russia, then that will provoke a much bigger war. NATO's original aim was to try and counter Russian expansion in Europe after World War II. After the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, lots of the European countries in the East who had been allies of Russia became absorbed into NATO, places like Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania. And it is no secret that this expansion has really angered Russian President Vladimir Putin. The war in Ukraine, to put it lightly, has strained the relationship between Russia and the West, and NATO's leader has now described Russia as posing a direct threat to our security, to our values, and to the rules-based international order. What is NATO and why